Hello, my friends. This is Tosif here, back with another live stream. And I am here. This is 10:06 p.m. 10:06 p.m. on April the 10th. And, I was hoping to start this at 10 p.m. And then at 10 p.m. I realized, oh, oops, I'm late. It's 10 p.m. already. I haven't set up the live stream yet, so I set it up for 10:05, and here I am at 10:06. Um, and I'm waiting to see how many of you are here, how many will be joining. I know I always try to give a little bit of advanced notice before a live stream, and I just have not been able to do that this time. So let's see who's here. I'm going to wait and see who's joining. All right, my friends. Give me 1 second. All right, I'll be back. All right, I am back. So I'm going to wait and see who's here, and then we can jump into the conversation. Usually, I like to wait for a little bit, 1 minute or 2 minutes, just to see who's tuning in. And I know this is not my usual time when I go past 10 and I set up my live stream a little late. I think it takes a while for people to get those notifications and to tune in. So I'm going to wait. We were having a great conversation yesterday, I know, and what ended up happening is my battery, because I was using an external microphone attached to my phone to do the live stream, so my phone's battery was draining pretty fast, and so by the time we got close to 1 hour 30 minutes, I realized, oops, my battery is almost gone, and so I just had to, before my battery would die completely, I just have to promptly end the live stream. But I'm here now, and so I'm waiting to find out who's joining. So let's see. I'm going to wait for a few more, maybe half a minute more before I start with the conversation. All right. All right, my friends, I'm waiting for you to all join. And, finally, it seems that in Wisconsin we have beautiful weather. Like finally, it seems we're going to get some nice weather. Okay, I see a few people have joined. Please announce yourself so I know who it is, my friends. Let me know who it is, because when you announce, when you write something in the chat window, then I know who it is. So I'll wait for you to do that. And then I'll be talking about some issues that I think are important. Then I'll talk about something happening in New York. There's always something happening in New York, right? There's always something happening in New York. So I'm going to start with that, but I'll wait for you to, write something in the chat window. All right. I'm looking at my computer screen here. So please write something in the chat window, my friends, as you join. A big problem. Oh, I see more people are coming in. Welcome to my live stream. We're 5 minutes into the live stream, but I still haven't started the discussion about the issues of the day yet. So welcome, write your name in the chat window or just say hello, write the state that you're from, write the country that you're from, and we're going to get into the discussion. My friends, in New York, one of the biggest problems is that there are repeat offenders who are out in the streets and doing things that are not lawful. And, one of the biggest challenges is that the justice system is such that people who commit crimes, who violate the law, they get arrested, but then they get released. And then they get arrested again, they get released again, they get arrested again, they get released again. And that's how we see all these news updates about individuals who are committing crimes and being arrested. And when you look at their criminal history, you can see that they have been arrested 6 times, 10 times, 12 times, 15 times previously. And then you just have to wonder, how can an individual with such a long history of arrests, how can an individual like that be out in the streets and committing more crimes? And so that's a huge problem in the justice system in New York. And I think as more and more news about such individuals are coming to light, as New Yorkers find out about these repeat offenders and their repeat offenses, New Yorkers are losing their faith in the justice system, right? I mean, we are a nation of laws. We are a nation of rules, laws and rules, and so it's kind of shocking to see that there are repeat offenders who are just walking around freely in New York, and some of the actions that they engage in are putting property and people at risk. And so here's what happened. Here's the news that I'm looking at. A few migrants where there's news about some migrants with history of arrests, okay, and they allegedly attacked law enforcement officers. So these migrants, reportedly from Venezuela, they were caught stealing. And this is according to news reports. They were caught stealing from a store, and then they also allegedly attacked law enforcement officers. And so, according to the news reports, there were 5 repeat offenders. Okay, 5 repeat offenders, and you just have to wonder what's going on in New York City. Now, my friends, we have problems in our communities, no matter which city you're living in. Thompson Polling Group is here. User titled Thompson Polling Group writes, joining late, greetings from Wisconsin. Greetings, thank you for joining. We are 9 minutes into the live stream, so it's good to see that Thompson Polling Group, that's the name of the viewer, has joined and is the first one to comment today. So thank you for doing that. Now, let me ask you: is this your first time watching my live stream, or have you seen my videos before? I always like to ask that question whenever I see someone commenting who I don't recall seeing before. So I just have to ask that. I hope you don't mind. I like to get to know the viewers who comment. And so you can feel free to let me know whatever you want to share. You don't have to answer all my questions, but I see you're from Wisconsin. I'm from Wisconsin. I am actually live streaming from Madison, Wisconsin. Madison, on the west side of Madison. That's where I live. So please share with me whatever you want to share. and that's fine. All right. Okay. So as I was saying, repeat offenses. Okay, let's see. Thompson Polling Group writes, yes, this is my first time. I'm gaining insight for the campaign. I'm from Green Bay. For the campaign, so I wonder what campaign would you give me some more information? I'm very much politically involved, so I'm curious to know. Yeah, let's see. You're from Green Bay. I was in Green Bay last month. I was delivering a presentation at an event talking about immigration, sharing my views on immigration. So I'm just I'm now a bit curious to know more about the username Thompson Polling Group. So feel free to share. I'll let you write. I'm going to continue with what I was saying. My friends, repeat offenses. This is a huge problem, right? And in the United States, we already have many public safety challenges. There are many cities where crime is rising. Crime has been widespread. Obviously, Chicago is one of them. New York is one of them. If you look at California, there are multiple cities that we can think of where crime is a huge issue. For example, Los Angeles, and then obviously San Francisco. But when liberal politicians, they allow foreign nationals to enter the United States through the southern border without any permission, without authorization, without visa, illegal immigrants who are pouring into the country, that actually makes our problems worse. So we have challenges that we have to address, okay? But illegal immigration is making the problems worse and adding more problems to an already existing set of problems that we have. Thompson Polling Group writes, actually, I'm getting on the grounds info on independent-leaning Republicans. That's very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. On this channel, I talk about social and political issues, both domestic and international. Now, I am a conservative. My viewers know that. I'm a strong conservative. And Thompson Polling Group is asking me how solid is Trump support. Well, I can't give you I can't give you numbers or data, obviously, because I don't do polling. So I know many Trump supporters. A lot of people who tune in to my channel here, they are very solid Trump supporters. But people from many parts of the country tune in to watch my videos here. And whatever information I have, whatever my viewers tell me in the chat window, it's obviously self-reported. So I just ask my viewers if they feel free to share with me what their thoughts are and where they are from. They'll tell me what states they're from, and they'll share their comments. Okay, Susan Epp is here. Susan, welcome. It's good to see Susan is here. That's wonderful. Susan, how are things going? Are you still in California, Susan? Would you share a little bit? We're talking about repeat offenders and how illegal immigration has made things worse, exponentially worse in a place like New York City. So Susan, I'll let you answer. All right. So let's see. Thompson. Susan writes, yes, for now. Took my grandchildren to the playground today. That's wonderful. Kids should have the opportunity to be outside. In this day and age, I think a lot of kids spend a lot of time indoor, which is also fine. I spent, when I was growing up as a child, when I was little, growing up in Dhaka, in the city of Dhaka in Bangladesh, I spent a lot of time indoor. I used to play with Lego. I used to read books. I used to watch cartoons. and play Monopoly and just spend a productive time indoor. But I think it's also important for kids to be outside and to engage in sports, which is also something that I did. I used to play cricket. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that sport. I think I may have mentioned that previously. I used to play cricket, so not only did I spend time indoor reading books and watching documentaries and watching cartoons and playing Lego, playing Monopoly, and I played video games also, but in moderation. Okay, because I know nowadays I think we know that video games can be very, very addictive. So I did play video games, but in moderation. And video games were not as sophisticated back then as they are now in terms of sophistication. What I mean is nowadays you look at the graphics of video games and the graphics like almost real. It seems like you're like watching TV. It's hard to say that those are computer generated images. But back in my day when I was little playing video games, it seemed that those video games were very entertaining, but not as like hi-fi or high tech. Anyway, so Susan, it's wonderful to know that you took your grandchildren to the playground. That's awesome. Susan writes, they have a wonderful mother. She homeschools. Oh, that's great to know. There should be choice in education. I know that there are a lot of people out there who support public schools. That's great. There are many parents who support the idea of homeschooling. That's great. Private schools, great. I believe in school choice. I think people should be able to pick the kind of schooling that they think would be best for their kids. Laura Floyd is here. Laura, wonderful to see that you're here. Laura Floyd from Texas, giving me the thumbs up. Laura, thank you. So Thompson Polling Group, are you still here? All right. I know people come and go. People tune in and then they leave. So whenever there are new viewers, I want them to stay and I want them to stay engaged. So anyway, what I was saying is very disturbing news. So Thompson writes, yes, I'm listening to you and reading you. So I see the viewer named Thompson Polling Group, and I don't know if you're there as an individual or as a group, but I'm just wondering if you would give us a first name that we can address you by, other than reading all three words in your title. Anyway. What I do want to talk about is that illegal immigration, it's a very frequent topic that I discuss. And that's because the problem is ongoing. And it seems that the problem is getting worse every single day, and literally every single day. All right, this is not an exaggeration, because you can see that the liberal politicians, they are coming up with all different kinds of ideas that actually serve the illegal immigrants at the expense of American taxpayers. I mean, first of all, politicians in places like New York and Chicago, they started providing housing and food to the migrants. Okay, and who's paying for it? Who's paying for it? I mean, I understand that the city council votes to allocate the funds. But whose money is it? It's American taxpayer money, right? It's American taxpayer money that's being allocated because those liberal politicians on the city council, they vote for these things, okay? I mean, conservatives are fighting back. Conservatives believe in fiscal responsibility. They believe in transparency. They believe in accountability. And we know that because we are paying attention. We can see how the politicians are voting. I mean, look at Chicago. Mayor Brandon Johnson now wants the city council to allocate $70 million more for the migrants. And so first it started with providing taxpayer-funded services like housing and food. And then, more and more migrants, more and more illegal immigrants kept coming to Chicago, kept coming to New York, okay? And because they are enticed by the taxpayer-funded benefits that they see other migrants are getting. I mean, we live in the day and age of social media. Word spreads very fast, okay? So when people find out, when foreign nationals who are looking to come into the United States through the southern border, they are trying to make up their mind whether they are going to do it or not. And they hear that in New York, migrants are getting free housing, which is not really free. It's free for them. It's free to them, but the taxpayers are paying for it, right? So when they hear the news and reports about migrants getting free housing, free food, and free medical services, that entices more and more migrants to make the journey to cross the southern border, with the ultimate destination being New York, Chicago, Denver, San Francisco, Los Angeles. The list is long. And there's a report out there now that in Wisconsin, now Wisconsin is not a sanctuary state, but in Wisconsin, there's a report out there that the city of Madison reportedly spent $700,000 approximately. I don't know the exact figure. The report said $700,000 for the illegal immigrants. And so this news just came out a couple days ago, and I briefly talked about it. I think, was it yesterday or the day before? I think somebody brought it up. And so the American voters, they can see what's going on. They can see how their resources are being spent on the illegal immigrants. And these are individuals who disregarded our nation's immigration laws, and they came in with the expectation that they're going to get free stuff. Okay, that's what's bringing a lot of these people here. Number one, Biden is keeping the border open. Biden administration has not secured the southern border. Now, when Trump was in office, Trump worked really hard to secure the border. And, his approach was, I know he talked a lot about building a wall, building a wall, building a wall. But what it really was is building a wall or a physical barrier of some sort, or a fence, because you need a physical barrier. Okay? So he was proposing, and he worked towards a physical barrier, having a physical barrier at the southern border. But it wasn't just a wall. It was about having a wall, and then having personnel, having border patrol, trained agents on the ground, making sure that they are protecting our border, and also technology. This is the day and age of technology. Law enforcement and different government agencies and organizations, they use technology to protect the border. So there were many components to this. I know Trump talked about the wall because we do physically need a wall or a fence or a barrier of some sort. And then we need personnel, which he did deploy. Then we need technology, which which Trump also deployed. And so Trump took a comprehensive approach to securing the southern border. Okay, but then Biden came to office, and everything's gone. And now what the border patrol agents, what they have been doing. I mean, these are great individuals, the border patrol agents. These are great individuals. They are capable. They can get the job done, but they are really not being allowed to do their job. Okay? Because the Biden administration is allowing all these illegal immigrants to come in rather than, making sure that our border stays safe. And so, that's why I keep saying we need Trump back in office. Obviously, he's the presumptive GOP nominee, and people are eagerly looking forward to the national convention, which is going to be taking place right here in Wisconsin, the great state of Wisconsin. So people are looking forward to that. Susan writes, when my grandparents immigrated, they had to prove that they wouldn't be a public charge. Exactly. People come here, immigrants, those who come here legally through a proper process, they go through the paperwork, they wait patiently for their turn, they go through background check, and millions of legal immigrants are coming in through the proper process, and they come here to contribute towards the growth and success of this country. They're here to study, to build a career, to work hard, to pay taxes, to pursue the American dream, and to help make this country greater than ever before. But now, in addition to US citizens, a lot of legal immigrants are also suffering because of inflation, because of supply chain problems, because of the border crisis, because of the crime issues, because of all the public safety challenges. So US citizens are suffering, legal immigrants are suffering, and illegal immigrants are making all the problems worse. And it's happening because of liberal politicians and what they have been doing. What's their priority really? I mean, you got to ask them, why are you allowing millions of illegal immigrants to enter the country? And now these liberal politicians are pushing for work permits for the illegal immigrants. And in New York, the liberal politicians, they are trying to extend voting rights to the non-citizens. I mean, so are the liberals caring about the American public? They're not. They're not. And so I was talking about, this news from New York, migrants with rap sheets. They allegedly attacked law enforcement officers, and they were caught stealing from a store in New York. And the report says 5 repeat offenders. So repeat offenders. That's the question. How are repeat offenders, people who are, who have been arrested multiple times before, how do they get back to the streets only to commit more crimes? So people are really losing their faith in the justice system in New York. And people are sick and tired of what's going on in New York and in Chicago. All right, but New York seems to be, a lot worse. Laura Floyd, I see your sad face there. I'm sorry, Laura. I know that I share a lot of news that are not really pleasant, but that's because these things are happening in our country. And there's no way to sugarcoat this crisis, and we shouldn't sugarcoat anything. We should be, if we want to raise awareness, if we want to spread the truth, if we want to talk about the issues, we have to point out the problems, because unless we know about the problems, unless we point out the problems, how are we going to solve the problems, right? And so that's what I'm trying to do on this channel. I do share uplifting things. Sometimes that, because I know that there are many viewers, many of my friends who tune in regularly to listen to me. So I'm sure you have heard me talk about some uplifting things, but I do talk about the issues, the problems that we face, because I want people to be aware of these problems, and I want people to exercise their First Amendment rights and to ask questions to their elected officials, especially if you are in New York and Chicago. Ask your city council members, ask your county board members, what's going on? Why do we have this crisis? Why is Chicago still a sanctuary city? Why is New York still a sanctuary city? Why aren't the politicians trying to erase? Why are they not erasing the sanctuary city designation? Laura writes, we are living in serious times. That is correct, Laura. That is correct. We are living in serious times. And Laura also writes, I appreciate you informing us of serious issues. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. And I appreciate the fact that you all tune in and you share your thoughts with me. You ask questions, because and I have said this a number of times before, but sometimes I repeat a few things because there are always new viewers who probably didn't hear me, who didn't watch my live streams before. So I want them to know, the new folks. And that's why I'm going to say this again. I want these live streams to be a sort of conversation. I know, I'm the only one like speaking here. The others are in the chat window, but we still have conversations because I read the comments that you write. I read the questions that you write, and I try to respond to the questions. And I sometimes pause and I look at the chat window, and so I want this to be an exchange because I also get to learn a lot. I get to learn a lot because, for example, one of the things I'll mention is I know Susan Epp. She had previously brought up the issues in Hawaii. Now, I know about the issues in Hawaii. I know about the Maui fires and some of the problems that people are facing in Hawaii in the aftermath of the fires. But I didn't make a podcast episode on it. But I did it only after Susan brought it up. I think. Do you remember that, Susan? You talked about it, and that kind of prompted me to do a little bit more research on those issues, and to say, you know what, I'm going to do a podcast episode, and I'll share my views and I'll share some updates and my thoughts. So that prompted me to make a podcast episode. Susan writes, yes, I remember that. So that's why I say I do these live streams like, 1 hour long, 1.5 hour long, 2 hour long live streams. And it's not possible to talk about all the major issues that we're facing as Americans, as voters in this country. And so I try to pick a few topics to discuss. But then when you ask me questions, when you prompt me to talk about something, if I don't know what to say right away, I usually come back and address that in a future live stream, or I make a future podcast episode. So I learn a lot from you all, and I like to share my thoughts and to get your reactions. And so most of the time you can see I don't have a script. I'm just looking into the camera. I do usually have my laptop up there because as we have conversations, I sometimes have to look things up. Sometimes you give me book recommendations, right? We've done that before. I talk about some books that I've enjoyed reading or that I'm looking forward to reading, and you all, my friends, you give me book recommendations. So what I try to do is I take notes or I look up that book as we speak. So when I'm not looking at the camera, I'm usually looking at my computer screen. But most of the time, I don't have a script. There's no paper in front of me today. I'm just saying what's in my heart, and I'm sharing with you my thoughts. And so I'm looking forward to voting for Donald Trump in November of 2024. So Thomson Polling Group has a question. Let's see. Thomson Polling Group writes, Tausif, may I ask you and the viewers to give their opinions? Is your opposition to the migrants more about crime and safety or the misuse of public tax funding? Which one is more important? So Thomson Polling Group, first, I would like to know a little bit more about you. If you view my past videos, I have lots of videos on this channel. I'm sure you'll get the answers to those great questions that you asked. And because I've talked about a variety of aspects of illegal immigration in previous videos and during previous live streams. And I try to do these live streams almost every day, at least 5 times a week, okay, depending on, what else is going on in my life or how busy my evenings are. I try to do these live streams every day, as I said, and in addition to the live streams, I have lots of videos on YouTube, some of which are just videos and some of which are video versions of my podcast episodes. And if you want to look up my podcast, you can look it up. It's called Explore and Engage with Anam. All you have to do is search on the internet. So you're gonna get the video versions of my podcast episodes on my YouTube channel. Not all, because a couple years ago I didn't have the video versions, so I would just do audio only podcast. But you'll find more than 200 of my podcast episodes. If you just do a search on the internet, you can write my name or you can write the name of my podcast, Explore and Engage with Anam. So great question, Thomson Polling Group. But I want to know a little bit more about you. Do you have a website that you can give me? That would be great. I thank you for joining this live stream. This is open to the public. Anyone can join from anywhere in the world. And I try to get to know my viewers and I call everyone who's here my friends. So like I know Laura is from Texas because she shared it with me. Susan is in California because she shared it with me. So there are other people who join, sometimes every day, sometimes a few times a week. And I've gotten to know a little bit about them over the last few months that I've been doing these live streams. So, Thompson Polling Group, I see you've got your name here. If you've got a website that you can share, that would be great. And in terms of my opinions, you just have to watch my videos. My opinions are all over my YouTube channel. Illegal immigration. And, what you can do also, and this is for everyone, on March 12th, I was in Green Bay, and I talked to a group. An event was organized by a group named Informed Women, great group of freedom-loving Americans. So I was the featured speaker. I was the guest speaker at their luncheon, and I spent, I think, approximately 1 hour, 13 minutes, or 1 hour, 15 minutes, something like that, over 1 hour. I talked about my journey as an immigrant, how I became a U.S. citizen, how I came to the United States as a legal immigrant, somebody who followed the proper laws and rules to come to the United States. I talked about that. I talked about my my journey to becoming a U.S. citizen. I shared my views regarding the current border crisis. And so all you have to do, actually, anyone who's interested, you go to my channel. You go to the video section of my channel, and I'll tell you which one I'm referring to, okay? I'm going to look it up here. I'll share with you the date. All right. So on what date was it? Give me 1 second, all right? All right. So there's a video which was uploaded on my channel on March 13th. So a day after I did that speech. On March 13th of 2024, there's a video that was uploaded on my channel, which I uploaded. It's titled, How I Became a U.S. Citizen Coming All the Way from Bangladesh. And I talked in details about my views, about why illegal immigration is a problem, and how it's affecting our economy adversely, and how Americans are very unhappy about the fact that our tax dollars are being used to pay for housing and food and other services for the migrants, and how illegal immigration is just hurting our country overall. Now, I'm a strong supporter of legal immigration. And in that video, I talk about, how many foreign nationals are getting the permanent residency to live and work in the United States every year. Okay? Approximately 1 million. Sometimes it's over 1 million. Approximately 1 million people. I'm rounding up the numbers, right? I don't have the exact figures memorized, but approximately 1 million people get the permanent residency to live and work in the United States every single year. All right? Now, the COVID years might have affected that. I don't remember with, everything slowing down. But so that tells you we are a welcoming country. We are a welcoming country. We welcome legal immigrants. And then hundreds of thousands of people become naturalized U.S. citizens every single year, hundreds of thousands. So if anyone ever says, and I know personally a few liberals who have said that the U.S. is not immigrant friendly, I just point out to those facts and figures. And you can go to the website of the Department of Homeland Security, look up the Yearbook of Immigration Statistics. You're going to find all that data. And that data will show you that we welcome immigrants. Just look at how many people are getting permanent residency to live and work in the United States every year. How many are becoming naturalized US citizens every year? You look at those numbers and you'll know that we welcome legal immigrants. And if we want to have a strong legal immigration system, we must stop illegal immigration. Because right now, and so I'm going to say one more thing. You can type my name, Tausif Anam, on the internet, and you're going to find a video of my Fox News appearance back in June of 2023, last year in June. I was invited to be a guest on Fox and Friends, okay? On Fox and Friends, on Fox News, in which I talked about immigration, shared my views on immigration. Rachel Duffy was the host for that segment. I was one of the guests, one of two guests. The other guest was Bernie Moreno, who is running for US Senate in the wonderful state of Ohio, okay? And he got Trump's endorsement. And so Bernie Moreno was one guest. I was one guest, so there were two guests for that segment. And Rachel Duffy was the host. So you can check out that video because I've been on national TV sharing my views, okay? And so if I remember correctly, in that video I talked about what's going on right now. Right now, there are two pathways to enter the United States. One legal, one illegal. But there should be only one pathway to enter the United States. Legal pathway, legally. There is no room for illegal immigration, no place for illegal immigration in our country. We must secure the southern border and we must stop the flow of illegal immigrants. I made it very clear. And I don't know how many times I've said that on videos, in person, when I'm having conversations with my friends. I repeat that over and over again because, like I said, some of you may have heard me say that 100 times, but there are always new people who are coming to view these live streams. So I just have to say, for the new viewers, I think we must secure the southern border and we must stop the influx of illegal immigrants. Susan has a great question. Susan writes, what about all the ones who come legally and they then overstay the visa? Susan, great question. Great question. Let me tell you one thing, Susan. Let me tell you one thing. Visa overstay is something that I talked about years ago. Okay? So approximately 5 months ago, let me look up the date. I've talked about it years ago, but recently, let me give you the date here. On November 10th of 2023, I published a video on this channel, on my YouTube channel, and the title is Visa Overstay, a massive problem hurting America. So yeah, you know, if somebody comes in legally as a tourist or as a student and overstays the visa, that is a huge problem. We must not allow that to happen. And then if you go back 5 years ago, five years ago, all right, on this channel, and 5 years ago I wasn't publishing, you know, videos like I do now almost every day. And this is from, I'm going to give you the date, just give me 1 second. August 12th of 2018. August 12th of 2018. All right? Way before the COVID outbreak happened in 2020. In 2018, I published a video on this channel, on my YouTube channel. You can find it. And it's called The Problem of Visa Overstay. That's the video. And so you can go back and look at what I said about visa overstay. And so Susan, great question. See, I get so many great questions on this channel. And so, you know, people who are tuning in have an eagerness to learn more. And that's why they ask great questions. And they are informed individuals like Susan. Susan pointed this out. I didn't mention it on this video. Susan pointed out, what about visa overstay? All those people who come here legally and decide not to go. Like if somebody is getting a tourist visa to visit the US and decides to just stay back and not leave, that's a problem. We cannot allow that to happen. And so great question, Susan. And that's a big problem. And, you know, that's also an issue that we need to talk about a lot. But I think, you know, what's going on with illegal immigration, that's taking up so much of time and so much of attention that people aren't really talking about visa overstay. But that's also a huge issue, Susan. So thanks for your great question. I see Laura has a nice emoticon there, a smiley face wearing a hat. So Laura, thank you for continuing to watch this live stream. You know, I love it when people tune in and they stay and not just leave. So I thank each and every one of you, and Susan and Laura, you both have been great supporters of this channel because you tune in, you watch my videos, you comment on my videos. So I really appreciate that. All right. So what I was saying, and any other questions for me at this time? You know, as I said, I don't usually have a script that I follow. So if you have questions, just feel free to ask me anytime. And like I said, if you want to know my thoughts about illegal immigration, I've got a whole bunch of videos on this channel because I'm very vocal, right? I use my First Amendment right to free speech. You know, I'm fearless because freedom of speech is my right. I have every right to share my views. Okay, and so, you know, when I publish these videos, these are out there in the world. Anyone can watch these videos, and you know, if somebody wants to challenge me and say that I'm wrong, well, you know, I would love to hear that. Okay, if somebody wants to disagree with me, you're welcome to express your disagreement. I have no problem. In fact, I encourage that. If you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with me, let me know. Because I believe in dialogue. I believe in exchange of information. So if you have a different argument, I would love to hear that. Okay, and we can have a debate, and that's fine. And you know, we can debate in a very, very respectful way. All right, we can have disagreements, and we can still respect each other and be civil. That's what I try to do always. Okay, you know, I talk to a lot of people whose views are very different from mine, and on some hot topics, they may have polar opposite views than the views that I have. That's fine. You know, that's what is great about the United States, that, you know, we can have a variety of opinions and we can freely share those opinions. Okay, so I'm very vocal, and this channel it tells you about me, about who I am. All right, so let me see, any other questions? Anyone else who wants to ask something, please feel free to do so. So Susan is writing, very common in Hawaii. So Susan, you're saying that visa overstay is common in Hawaii, right? Is that what you're saying, that people go to Hawaii and they don't leave? You know, Hawaii has many issues, obviously. Homelessness is a huge issue in Hawaii, and squatting, the squatter crisis, that's a huge problem in Hawaii. So Hawaii needs good leaders, conservative leaders. Hawaii needs conservative leaders. That's what I think Hawaii needs. Right? Would you agree with me? So I'm going to pause here for a second. I'll let you ask questions. If you are on this channel for the first time, please introduce yourself. Write something in the chat window. I would appreciate that very, very much. Please do that. Susan writes, yes, they guess around 57,000. Wow. So are you saying that there are like 57,000 people who are overstaying their visa. Wow, that's a lot. That's huge. That is huge. All right. Thompson Polling Group writes, Tausif, thank you for sharing your service to the community. Well, thank you for your kind comment. I still want to know if you have a website or something. What kind of polling you're doing. I'd love to know that. But feel free to share whatever you feel free to share. Okay. I may ask questions. I may ask people to share where they are from, what they do, what their thoughts are, but they don't have to answer. So you don't have to answer if you don't want to. But I appreciate anyone who has an interest in my channel and wants to tune in and listen to what I have to say. And it's interesting that Thompson Polling Group wrote that you're based in Green Bay. Green Bay. All right. Let's see. 57,000 visa overstay. Wow. That's a huge number. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, if the state has a population of 1.5 million, 57,000 is a lot. Is a lot. All right. I'm looking at something here. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, I'm looking at my laptop screen here for something. Let's see. Anyone else on this channel who has not said anything in the live chat window yet? Please feel free to share something about yourself. I want to know where you're from. Just write what state or city you're from. I know that there are viewers who tune in from like California, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and then Susan used to tune in from Hawaii, right, Susan? And Illinois, New York, Wisconsin, and some other Ohio, definitely Ohio, South Dakota. My friend Terry, who's not here today, she tunes in from South Dakota. What a wonderful state South Dakota is. And also, so people from various states tune in and participate in the live chat during my live stream. And so, yeah, Florida, I think we had folks from Florida sometime in the last 2 or 3 days. And yeah, Arkansas, I think, Arkansas. And so, at some point, I would love people from all 50 states to tune in for my live stream. Wouldn't that be great? Like all at the same time. So at least one person from each state, each of the 50 states tuning in. That would be a great conversation if we ever had that. I don't know if anyone has ever tuned in from Alaska. If there's somebody from Alaska on this channel listening to me, please introduce yourself. Write that in the chat window, my friends. All right. All right. So, okay. So, what I'm going to have to do, and I said this before, that this report that came out from IRG, Institute for Reforming Government, this report that came out that pointed out that $700,000 have been spent on illegal immigrants in the city of Madison. That's a serious report. And I said that I was going to read that report. I just haven't had the time to read it yet. And so I plan to do that sometime in the next few days. And if this is happening in the city of Madison, $700,000 spent on illegal immigrants, that's very, very sad. Because you know what else is going on in Madison? Home prices have reached a point that many hardworking Americans can't even think about buying a home. Many young professionals who are working hard in their careers, and they are trying to save money for the down payment for their first house, and they are not able to do that because home prices have risen, because interest rates are high, because interest rates are high, so it's hard to get a mortgage, and rent is going up, and then grocery prices are going up, and in Madison, we not only have a city wheel tax, we also have a county wheel tax. So when you renew your license plate, you have to pay the state, you have to pay the city, you have to pay the county. And what I pay for renewing my license plate is over $150 per year. And I just got a notice in the mail, actually. I don't know if I have it here. It should be somewhere on my desk. I got a reminder that my renewal date is coming up. And I think the figure is something like $153 and some change. I mean, it's more than $150. So, I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy. I mean, $150+ to renew the license plate of one vehicle. And also, I mean, everything's going up. And, even parking rates. The city of Madison has some government ramps in the downtown area, in the campus area, where people pay to park their vehicles, monthly parking, hourly parking. And those rates have gone up too. Okay? A couple months ago, I read in the news that they announced new rates. Anyway, it's unbelievable how everything is becoming so expensive. So there are American citizens in this country who are struggling, who are suffering in this country and in the city of Madison. American citizens who are struggling because prices of everything's going up. Everything is becoming more and more and more expensive, more and more expensive. And so, if freedom-loving Americans in the city of Madison find out that the city spent $700,000 on illegal immigrants, that is unbelievable, that is shocking, and that is wrong. That should not be happening. My friends, we need to prioritize the American citizens, natural-born citizens, naturalized citizens, and also legal immigrants, people who are working hard, paying taxes, they respect our laws and rules, people who are here legally. So we need to focus on Americans, natural-born citizens, naturalized citizens, and the legal immigrants who are here, because they respect our laws and rules, and because they are here to make our country stronger than ever before. Instead, the city of Madison, according to that report from IRG, spent $700,000 on illegal immigrants. I mean, we have to find out the answers. We have to know what's going on. That is so wrong. That shouldn't be happening. So I talk about New York, I talk about Chicago, I talk about California, I talk about Denver. But, and then this report is published, and I find out this is happening in my city, the same problem, that American tax dollars are being spent on illegal immigrants. This is unbelievable. Like, this is happening in my city in which I live. That is unacceptable. And if you do a little bit of research on Madison, Madison is a great city, but Madison has lots of liberal elected officials. People on the city council, on the county board, lots and lots of liberals. And so, we need more conservatives, okay? We need more conservatives in local government, on the county board, on city council, on village board, on town board. We need more conservatives. People who believe in accountability, fiscal responsibility, transparency. We need transparency. The public must know what's going on, how is the money being spent, what categories of expenses are the dollars being spent on. So we have to know the truth. Let's see. No one has asked me a question in the last several minutes, so I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to enjoy my hot tea, which is, I don't think it's even lukewarm now. It's room temperature by now. I like drinking tea, coffee, mostly tea, but sometimes coffee, even at night, because I tend to stay awake. You know, I never sleep. I almost never sleep before midnight. You know, it's always past midnight when I go to bed. Because even after I do the live stream, I complete the live stream, I spend time reading books or, you know, catching up with more news updates. And so, you know, I want to learn. I have this hunger to learn more and more and more. So, my friends, let's see. All right, let me see some comments here. I see some comments here. All right. No, I'm looking at my notifications here. I see there are some other comments on some of my other videos. All right. So who's still here? Anyone here who has not said anything yet, who has not participated in the live chat window, please participate. Introduce yourself. You know, be a part of this community. I'm gonna just look at my computer screen for a second here. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay. All right. I'm back. So, is anyone looking forward to presidential debates? I would love to see, and I'm eagerly waiting to see a debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. That's going to be awesome, let me tell you. And depending on who Trump picks for VP, I think the vice presidential debate is also going to be very, very interesting. So Susan Epp is still here, Susan. Glad that you're still here. You're writing LOL. Thank you, Susan. That tells me you're also waiting for the debate between Trump and Biden, right? I mean, what an awesome debate that's going to be. Now, who's going to be the vice presidential pick? That's something I wonder about. So I see more people have joined. As you are joining, please write something in the live chat window. Introduce yourself. By the way, I need a haircut actually. Life's been so busy. I haven't had a chance to get my haircut yet. So if I cut it really short, I'm gonna look very different. Okay, which I've done before. I've cut it really short, and not like too short, not like, you know, this short, but short enough, because my hair is pretty wavy. So when it grows, it actually doesn't go down as much. It just becomes more wavy. You can see more waves. So I'm overdue for a haircut. And also, I have a speaking engagement coming up on April the 13th. I've said that before. If you are in Wisconsin, please come to that meeting, the 2nd Congressional District Caucus, which is going to be taking place in Cross Plains on April the 13th. Okay? If you want to know more, give me one second. If you want to know more about the time and the agenda and the address and all the details, feel free to send me an email and I can forward the information to you. The email address is tosif@tosifanam.net. tosif@tosifanam.net. Send me an email and I can send you more information about the event on April 13th that's coming up. I'm the featured speaker at the 2nd Congressional District Caucus of the Republican Party. And the event is going to be in Cross Plains, which is just a few minutes from where I live. So I'm hoping that the weather stays nice. It's a short drive, but if the weather's nice and it's bright and sunny, we're going to have a great day. And I have so many things to share. So many things to share. I'm going to be speaking for maybe about 20 minutes or so, I think. Um, I can talk for a lot longer than that. You know that, right? I mean, well, when I do these live streams, I'm speaking for more than an hour usually, and so I can talk for a long time. But obviously, there's going to be a packed agenda. There will be some candidates for offices. There will be some state legislators. We're expecting that, and maybe a couple of congressional candidates, and maybe candidates for other offices who are going to be speaking. I think some of the political leaders from the county parties, they are going to be sharing their updates. There will be some voting, maybe on resolutions, and then obviously there's going to be that featured speech which I'm going to deliver, and so I look forward to that very, very much. And the next month, I'm supposed to be speaking at another event, but that information has not been published yet, so I'm going to wait for the flyer to come out before I can share that with my network, with my viewers, with my friends. So let's see. I'm not seeing any more questions as of now. So I'm going to wait here for a few seconds. Any guesses on who Trump's VP will be? Any ideas? I know I've asked this before, but I think as the days go by, we should be getting closer to knowing. And so, do you have a guess? Has your guess changed? Maybe you thought, oh, this person's going to be Trump's VP, but now you think somebody else. You can share your thoughts. You can share your thoughts with me, my friends. And let's see. So something happened, something really sad happened in Madison, actually, today. And, as soon as I was outside, as soon as I came back home, a few minutes before I started the live stream, I was trying to catch up on the news. Obviously, I was doing a lot of other things. I wanted to make sure, as I said, that I start the live stream at 10 p.m. and then I got delayed by a few minutes. But anyway, I read a little bit about what just happened in Madison. So reportedly today, a man in Madison, Wisconsin, suffered injuries pertaining to a shooting that happened in the city on the north side today, on Wednesday night. And so there's active investigation going on. And, I just saw that news. Very, very sad. And so I think tomorrow morning we're going to have more information on that. But it's just sad to see what's happening in the city of Madison. I mean, the city of Madison, it used to be a relatively safe city, but it seems that crime is growing in Madison. Lots of, thefts, and, there were carjackings that happened. I don't know if any happened recently, but I'm just talking about things that happened in the last few years, when in the last few years, it seems that crime is growing. There's more tension in the city. So, lots of thefts, retail theft, and property crimes, and then, shootings, and other problems. So anyway, the city is used to be a safe city, relatively safe city, but now things are getting worse. Things are getting worse, my friends. I mean, I think this is the same case everywhere in America. Crime problems getting worse. Susan has a great guess. Susan writes, I think Byron Donalds will be VP. Byron Donalds is a great, great congressman. I mean, so Susan, let me tell you, do you know that when Kevin McCarthy departed from the position of the House Speaker, obviously we know how that happened. He was basically voted out of his speakership. And so after the speaker's seat became vacant, and there were all kinds of questions about who's going to be the next speaker, who's going to be the next speaker, I actually wrote a letter to the editor saying that Byron Donalds should be the VP. That's what I did. I expressed my support for Byron Donalds for speaker. Okay. I wanted to see Byron Donalds as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. And I can tell you where this letter to the editor was published. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this was published in New York Daily News. Okay, New York Daily News published my letter to the editor. This was back in October of 2023. And I wrote, you can go look up the letter. I wrote that that Byron Donalds should be the Speaker of the House. Now, I am happy with Mike Johnson. I know that Byron Donalds did not become the Speaker, but I'm happy with Mike Johnson. I'm happy with Mike Johnson. If it would have been Steve Scalise, I would have been happy with Steve Scalise. Jim Jordan, I think, would be a great speaker. So I think we have some great political figures in the Republican Party, people who can serve as the Speaker of the House, and I think they'll do fine. But obviously, if you ask me to pick a favorite, at the time I said Byron Donalds, because I think Byron Donalds he's a brave, solid conservative, a great Republican, and a freedom-loving American. And so I really wanted Byron Donalds to be the Speaker of the House. But I'm happy with Mike Johnson. I'm really happy with Mike Johnson. And so, politics is unpredictable, right? I mean, who could have thought that Kevin McCarthy would be the Speaker just for a few months? I mean, he had a long career in politics, in public office. And, he became the Speaker. I remember that whole process. There were rounds after rounds after rounds after rounds after rounds of votes. And there were Republicans who were not voting in favor of Kevin McCarthy. So he couldn't be elected Speaker. And so, there was another round of voting, and then there was another round of voting, and there was another round of voting. So rounds after rounds after rounds of voting. And finally, Kevin McCarthy, after many negotiations and within the Republican Party, many negotiations, many conversations. Obviously, I don't know what those conversations were. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but obviously there were negotiations among the Republicans to kind of win support for Kevin McCarthy's speakership. And so finally, there was enough support for Kevin McCarthy to be elected the Speaker of the House, but sadly, he was there for only a very short amount of time, and then he was voted out. And then there was a vacancy, lots of questions, what's going to happen. In the meantime, I expressed my support for Byron Donalds very publicly. Obviously, when you write a letter to the editor, it's out there in the world, anyone can read it, and that's the purpose of writing a letter to the editor. You want to be vocal, you want to share your thoughts with the world, and so that's what I did, express my support for Byron Donalds. And then Mike Johnson became the Speaker, and I'm very happy with Mike Johnson. And so we'll see what happens going forward. I mean, what I'm concerned about is that our majority in the House, the Republican majority in the House, is like razor thin. It's very, 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 very thin. Okay, I want to see the Republicans having a bigger majority, a solid majority, but that's not the case. And so, it's kind of sad. I want I'm hoping that in November 2024, as Americans vote, and starting in 2025, after the election results are published and accepted, hopefully the Republican Party will gain more seats in the House and have a stronger majority in the House. Okay, and I'm hoping that we will regain the majority in the Senate, and Obviously, I'm hoping that Donald Trump wins the presidency. All right. All right. So anyone else with any more questions for me? We have been in this live stream for 1 hour, 15 minutes. Susan Epp participated in the conversation. Laura Floyd also did. And then Thompson Polling Group also did. And I don't know if I'm missing anyone. We're missing a few friends who usually join, but today, maybe they're busy with other things going on in life. It's like I understand how busy people can get, because my goal always is to do my live streams at 9, but I usually end up doing these at 10. And the reason for that is, there are so many other things in life that we have to pay attention to, right? I mean, professional life, personal life, responsibilities that we have to fulfill, things that we have to take care of, problems that we have to address. And so in the process, the hours go by. And although I try to do it's always my goal to do my live streams at 9 p.m. Central Time. I usually end up starting these at 10 p.m. Central Time. And like today, I was further delayed. I started it at 10:06 p.m. So life happens, I understand, but it's always uplifting. It's always amazing. And I feel so great and so honored when I see people tuning into my live stream and participating in the chat window. I mean, I cannot explain how much I appreciate it. And as I said, people from many different states tune in and they share their thoughts with me, and they ask questions and they participate in the chat window. Sometimes, at various times we see various viewers tuning in, and so I appreciate all of you that you take valuable time out of your schedule to be with me here on this live stream. So let's see. So Susan, I don't know if Byron Donalds will be the VP. I know Byron Donalds is in Trump's shortlist. I think he had mentioned Byron Donalds' name. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think he will be a great VP if he's chosen, and if the ticket wins, right? So then you're gonna have Donald Trump and then Byron Donalds, right? You'll have Donald as a first name, and then you'll have Donalds as the last name. So, all right, my friends, we're approaching the 1 hour 18-minute mark. Do you have any more questions for me? Do you have any more things you want to share with me? Otherwise, I'm gonna end this live stream here in just a little bit. I'll hang out here for a few more minutes. And yeah, it's been a busy week, my friends. It's been a busy week, very busy week. It has been. By the way, I published a video earlier today, this evening, and so I don't know if you've had a chance to watch it. If not, please do check it out. Okay. So Susan writes, good night. All right, my friends, I'm going to end this live stream. Susan, thank you for being here. You have a wonderful night. And so to everyone who tuned in today, thank you. Thank you for joining. Thanks for supporting this channel. Please subscribe and stay connected. I hope you have a wonderful night. I will be back again with more live streams and more videos. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.